Blessed afternoon, collective. I am here. The mood is queer, strange, silent, empty, pleasantly so. It's a void. Oh, there's other stuff. Ego seems to be experiencing a tremendous amount of anxiety. That is kind of what I'm here to pull on. And yet, I'm not. I'm really not here. I am very much here, very much now. But this connection is tenuous. It's thin. It's fragile. And it is so very peaceful. Shifts continue, as they will. Form continues to change, as it does. This is a time of great transition. Transition of all types. We are metamorphosizing consciousness. We are emerging from a cocoon that has felt very safe and familiar for a long time, but for a long time has been restrictive, has been old, has been ready to shed, to fall away. Now it is crumbling. It is peeling apart. The layers are separating. It will no longer be attached to us. If we were attached to it, and we were, the separation is happening between that which we thought we were and that which we truly are. The falling off, the sloughing off of the false self is happening more and more. It is a natural process, and as all natural processes, it cannot be stopped. It will not be stopped. It will take place. Ego is fading. The false self, the persona, the person, personhood, in its own definition, is falling away. We are becoming one. We are becoming aware of our unification. There is really nothing to say. It simply is, as all things are. But we will pull some cards for the simple sake of it, for the satisfaction of this expression in the moment. Letting it be as it is, letting this form arise and then fade away, never to be the same again. It is beautiful, is it not? Ego is in dire straits. It is facing its own demise in some form or another. It is facing the music. It is time to pay the piper, as is said. And it is very resistant to it. This resistance is not relevant. The piper shall be paid. Enough of this. We'll simply pull cards. The mood is what it is today. Rather mysterious, very placid, very spacious, hollow, empty. And because it is empty, it is full of everything. Eight of Wands. Things are moving. Time to get a move on. Get along, little doggy. Happy trails to you. This is just everything that's coming through. The energy is flowing. There is nothing to stop it. Flow with it, or it will take you. Ego is feeling pressed to communicate. It's been left out in the cold for a long time. Pressed to communicate. Feminine energy is rising, as it continues to do. The soul bleeding through more and more. The veil, if such a thing could even be described as existing, is thinning. It is only a veil of perception. When the perception clears and the realization is had that the veil does not exist, then so it is. There is no veil. As this is being realized by more consciousness, that barrier to the perception or the thinning of the veil is taking place on a broader scale. It does help that we are nearing the portion of the year where traditionally this veil is considered to be thin, for a number of reasons, in large part because it is established in the collective consciousness as such. And when the collective consciousness is focused upon veil thinning, then the perception of it is exactly that. If that perception were simply established continuously, then it would be so perceived continuously. This is happening, one way or another. The soul energy, the Empress energy, the feminine energy is coming in. Quite deliberately, quite directly, quite unstoppably. That is creating an urge to move with it, to come towards it, to give to it, to give to something new, to work with this new energy, really to let it work through us. Resistance to the flow is futile. Yep. It is futile. What's on top? There is a nervousness in this. Guilt, disappointment, yes. But nervousness. This is driving. It's become intense. Yeah. It is time for this to be mediated, to be resolved, to be concluded. Why are we here? Why are we here pulling on this? Oh, cards flying out already. Why are we here? Because there's fear. Because it's all coming up. It's coming up faster, more violently, more turbulently, more certainly than ego would like. What fell out. It's creating a lot of overwhelm and confusion, but it's time to do something. It's time to make a choice. It's time to pick. It's underneath that moon. Yep. It's time to do something. The jury is in. All of the emotion that's been repressed is coming up. All of it at once. It's overwhelming. It's confusing. We're not really sure, speaking from ego's standpoint, what to do with this, but it's clear something needs to be done. We need to make a new choice. Judgment. It's time. It is judgment time. We need to make a new choice, not to keep rehashing. We're seeing that we've been rehashing, we've been regurgitating. Something is driving us not to do that again, not to keep picking the same cycle repeatedly. We're being shown another way, shown a different path, shown a different choice. It is being highlighted, but we have to surrender to it. There's a very cute squirrel outside. Yeah. It's time to let it happen, to surrender to it. Something wants to come through. This karma wants to resolve. We do that by surrendering to the flow of it, by giving up control, by letting go completely. Becoming empty. So let's pull a reading. Really, whatever you want to say, universe. I am directing this with intention towards the current state of the soulmate cycle, in particular this anxious ego energy. What do you want to tell me about it? What do you want to say about it? It's ready to scream. Yeah. It's pressure. It's heavy. It's a burden. It's ready. It's ready to drop. Ready to pop. Ready to scream. Look at that. Ready to just drop it and do the damn thing. Ready to come in. What's the energy of the connections right now? Also technically the mental position. Oh, and it just sort of falls out. I didn't even really pick it. Effortless. Justice. Letting things come to balance. It's known that it's time for a change. Something has been disregarded. Something has been put off. We don't want that anymore. We're tired of this pressure. There's only one way to get rid of the pressure. That's to release. It's to let go. It's to stop holding on to this burden. It's really more of that. Letting go implies a doing. This is not holding. It's not withholding anymore. It's a stopping. That's how you let go. Letting go itself is kind of a pushing the noodle. The way you drop a burden, the way you cease resistance is by letting go, by stopping holding. Not phrasing it quite right, but yeah, it's interesting. It's time to just drop it and move on. What's in the 3D? Looking for a way out. Looking for a way around. That's a part of this burden. That is a big part of this karma, is to stop looking for a shortcut. There's no shortcut. There is no shortcut to vulnerability. It's all or nothing. It's here and it's now. or it's never. That's not gonna fly. I'm just saying right now. This is not gonna fly. I can promise you that. What's in the soul? The Emperor. The soul is taking control. There's levels of this. Yeah, on one level, this is a balanced Emperor. This is coming to balance. This is how we used to behave. This is not going to fly anymore. Because the masculine and feminine energy is coming to balance. As that happens, this behavior is no longer tolerated. It's the soul stepping up and pretty much saying, you don't have a choice. You're gonna march over there. You're gonna face this. You're gonna go through with this. One way or another, this comes to balance. The soul means business. What's in the hidden energy of the universe? Three of Pentacles. It's building. This pressure only continues to build until it comes to a resolve. There is only one outcome here. Justice. Divine justice is final. It's absolute. It's complete. It does not miss. It does not fail. Something has to come to an end so that something new can begin. This is the way of the universe. This is the way energy flows. It flows into a form. That form takes shape. It reaches an apex and then it descends again. And it comes to an end so that new form can begin. When we resist that, we put the natural energy of the universe, of ourself, out of balance, which is karma, and which doesn't feel good. The only way, there's no way to get out of that. The only way for that energy to connect, to correct, to rebalance itself is to let it, is to let something end, to let go, to stop resisting the change, to embrace the vulnerability, to accept what is and accept it fully, completely. What's in the final outcome here? I told you it was going to be good. I told you there was no way. This isn't about me. This is the universe. The world, this changes. There's nothing that can be done. There is a change happening, a significant, universal cycle change. Doesn't matter if you believe it or not, it's universal. It is as objective as that can possibly be, because our experience of this reality is entirely subjective, but the experience of higher reality, that which is the true, the real reality, the actual, usurps everything that is perceived here. As above, so below. Whatever's happening above happens below. We just receive the trickle down. This is changing. Doesn't matter. And that means this is changing as well. Doesn't matter if we think it is, if we think we want it to or not. Really not relevant. The universe is dragging ego, kicking and screaming, into the now. Ego, the mind-made self, cannot exist in the now. It requires time. It requires the illusion of time in order to carry on its existence, which is why it is continuously trying to drag you into projecting your consciousness away from the here and now. So the way to flow around this is to recognize when this is happening and recognize that it is happening now. Now you are bringing presence to the mind, presence to ego. Instead of it dragging you forward, you're just bringing the light of awareness, which can only be at this present moment, and shining that light directly upon it. When you are directly observing it, it can't trick you. into identifying with it, into following it somewhere else, and it begins to shrivel. It begins to dissolve. So much pain. So much pain. So much running from. Look, justice again. I can't make this up. You can hear it. There's a tiredness here. There's just a giving up energy. There's a finality to it. It's the judge speaking, and if you're arguing with the judge doesn't care. Go ahead and argue. That's fine. Tire yourself out. The judge doesn't care. This verdict is final. The verdict is it's time to move on. It's time to feel, first of all. It's time to face this pain. We cannot look away from it. There is no escaping. There's no walking away from this. It's time to feel it, and it's time to feel all of it. It's time to start feeling the emotions and expressing them, quite certainly. They will not be hidden from view anymore. And also this spying behavior, the just sort of sitting and looking and not doing anything, that's not going to work either, because the more that we spy, the more we want to do. And that just doubles down and increases this pain, which means then we got to feel it more. We got to do something. This has to come to a resolve. Yeah, 3 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands. 3 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands, our base energy and the energy of the universe. This pressure will continue building until we can't take it anymore. And there's that 5 of Cups with a 9 Pentacles on top. That's how this works. The suffering continues until we cannot stand it any longer. And it's going to become more and more acute. It's going to become more and more obvious. We try to run from it. We try to look away from it. It bites us in the ass. It's not allowed. It's just not allowed anymore. Because we're done. Because we've asked for this to be resolved. For this to be finalized. And what is asked is given. There's not much of a waiting period anymore. Because we are becoming more conscious, more deliberate, more aware of the present and of presence. The timelines are converging and everything is condensing. Cycles are becoming shorter, more punctual, more distinct. So as justice here. Oh, death flies out. Death flies out, and the 9 of Cups. No more bullshit. Yeah, the 9 of Swords. The end of this smug pretend happiness. The end of, there's some bullshit here. I'm just gonna tell you, there's bullshit in this. And there it is. There's the 7 of Swords. I could feel it. I could smell the smugness, the bullshit, the everything is fine. No, it's not going to fly anymore. The more we pretend that everything's okay, the more it's not okay. The more we know that, the more it's pushing us to make a change. And that change, this kind of flew out reverse, but that change cannot be stopped. There is death happening. In many forms. Death is just transition. It's just a word for transition, ultimately. Things are constantly in a state of transition. Death is not anything to fear. It's not a threat. It's not bad. It's nothing to be afraid of. And it's certainly not something that can be stopped. Star underneath all of this. These are destined changes. These are universal changes. There are universal cycles changing right now. That's just what it is. Trying to fight it is just going to get us spanked, because the lesson is stop fighting. Stop fighting the natural flow of energy. Stop fighting the natural cycles of life. Karma. Karma. It's time for this to resolve. It's judgment again. Oh, I had a card fly out that I didn't see. Look at that. What are we missing here? Oh, divine timing. 7 of Pentacles. It's everything that was already said. It's just the energy is all aligned for this, and it doesn't matter what's standing in the way. It doesn't matter if anybody's ready or not. It doesn't matter. This is happening. It's let it happen. This karma is resolving. Transitions are taking place. Energy is coming to balance. Resistance is being released in many forms. There is nothing anybody can do to stop it. That is the primary lesson, is that your suffering lies not in the changes that are happening, but in your resistance to them. That's it. There's new stuff coming in. As I'm shuffling, the 3 of Wands falls out. Pulling on the 5 of Swords here. There's no escaping this journey. Like, it just came back. I only got to shuffle a little bit, but now it's got the Ace of Cups underneath. There's no stopping this flow from happening. There is no more ability to repress this emotion. We used to find a victory in repressing emotion. If I stopped feeling something, oh, I did it, good for me. I was able to stop feeling that thing. No, that's some bullshit. That is a false victory. That is short-sighted. That energy just gets stuck, and it comes back around until you finally face it fully and let it come through. And now we're just not able to walk away from it anymore. We're not able to shut it down. It's not working, because it's time for that energy which has been stuck, which means it's accrued karma, to come to balance. It's time for that debt to be paid. It's time for the emotions to flow. And we're going to just sit there and take it. The universe puts us in the Hanged Man. It puts us in the Hanged Man to show you, number 1, you don't have control over this. Number 2, stop fighting it. The control that you have is in your perspective. When you're not fighting this, when you're open to the flow, you're just chilling. That's why in the traditional tarot, the Hanged Man is smiling. Because, yeah, it looks like an uncomfortable place to be. Certainly didn't put himself there. Certainly didn't choose to be there. But if you're not fighting it, it's not a problem. You learn the power of perspective. You learn all you got to do to feel good, truly good, is let the emotions flow. Let what happens happen. Let whatever arises arise. Let it come through. Let it fully manifest, and let it come to pass. What's right with this 3 of Wands? 5 of Pentacles. It's been there a long time. This emotion has been there a long time. We've been shoving it down for a long time. Every time we do, it feels worse. It feels worse. We're just at that point where we can't do this anymore. The universe is saying not anymore. You used to be able to tolerate this. Not anymore. Things that used to fly, things that used to work, addictions, habits, this stuff too, old ways of being, ways of interacting with each other, ways of interacting within ourselves, lies we used to tell ourselves. None of it works anymore. It hurts. It hurts worse and worse. It hurts because it wants you to look at it. It wants you to look at it because it just wants to be felt. It wants to show you this isn't working. There's something else here. This isn't working. Whatever you're running away from is creating the pain. So stop running. Face it. Feel it. Let that emotion flow. completely and understand. You can only understand it by the experience of it. You have to do it. You have to experience it to grasp this. That's the only way knowing happens. It's not conceptual. It's not found in the mind. It's found in the direct experience. When you face the feeling and you let it flow, you have the experience and you gain the knowledge, the understanding that all you have to do is stop fighting the flow. That is your power. Your power, your peace, your pleasure lies in surrender, nothing else. Surrender to what is. Conditions are irrelevant. You can surrender to all of them. And in your surrender, you have peace. Tell me about the Emperor in the soul. Oh, he means business. He means business. I get Hierophant energy off of this as well. It's very authoritative, very commanding, not demanding. That's the difference between commanding and demanding. Demanding is of the ego. Demanding is small and manipulative and fear-based. Commanding is just absolute. It's knowledge-based. Tell me about why is the Emperor here in the soul? What's going on with this? Yeah, it's time for this pain to end. What's underneath that? Haven't looked. 8 of Wands. Again, this card is going to show up a lot. And who's poking off the top? Is it the King of Swords? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's commanding. It's authoritative. It is no bullshit here. We are the ones causing this pain. If we want this pain to stop, we got to open the flow. If we want this pain to stop, like, it's just a repeating message, but I'll show it to you directly. We want to transform this. There's one way to transform this. Let it go. Let it out. Stop fighting it. Drop the burden. That's the way it comes to a resolve. We want to balance things. We want to get away from this. We got to open the flow. We got to let it out. We got to let it happen. It's all because of this ego energy. That's where the conflict comes. If we want something new, if we want to do things a new way, we got to get away from the ego. This is where all the conflict is. How do we do that? By flowing the emotion. So what's on top? Oh, right, that King of Swords who was poking off. I forgot. He was peeking out. Yeah, this is a very authoritative energy. And it's very clear. It's deliberate. It does not mince words. The soul is being very direct. It's expressing everything that was just expressed here. It's got a plan. It has an outline. You want this pain to stop? Then you feel. You feel and you express and you stop fighting what is. Why is the King of Swords here? The Hermit. This is basically a loop. The soul is in charge. The soul is leading. Soul energy is just rising and rising because it's done with this. It's tired of this because ego is done with this. And ego has said, help, how do I fix this? And the soul says, I know how to fix this. You gotta stop doing. Stop doing everything that you're doing, ego. Step out of your own way. Let this flow. Let it happen. That's how it's transformed. You're trying to get away from it. The way out is through. That's it. There's one answer here. Stop resisting. Oh my. Tell me about the Three of Pentacles. Why is this Three of Pentacles here? We got a new foundation to build on. But in order to get to that new foundation, this old has to crumble. Has to fall away. Before the new can be born, the old must die. So why is this Three of Pentacles here? The Star. It's been in progress a long time. Yeah, I was gonna say it's been stuck a long time. It's been sort of just hanging here a long time. The universe has been working on this a long time. This is, this lesson, this new beginning. Working on these connections, working on teaching this lesson a very, very long time. The lesson of vulnerability, the lesson of acceptance of what is, of free expression, trying to get a lot of people to see this. What's on top? 10 of Pentacles. Everything has to crumble for the new to begin. If we want everything to be built from the soul foundation, we gotta let everything which has been built from an ego foundation fall apart. We gotta let all the old ego paradigms collapse. And they are. They are. They've been stuck for a long time. Oh, look at that. We got some nice, beautiful light codes coming through. They've been stuck up for a long time. Just, boop. But it just, nothing stops death. Death and taxes, right? I mean, this is essentially that wrapped up. Why is the 10 of Pentacles here? The Lovers. The universe has made the call. This is the choice made by the universe. It's also bouncing off of karma, the King of Swords, and the Hermit to an extent. I mean, it's all over the place, but yeah, this is the choice made by the universe. And the universe is yourself. If anybody ever is thinking, I don't want to be forced into this, you're the one who made this call at the higher level. You, as the universe, your highest self. You're forcing yourself. So there's no forcing. This was a decision made by your highest self in accordance with the highest will, which is for the highest good, which means your highest good. It's all inclusive. Nobody is left out of the highest good. It's not some bullshit ethical equation where some of these people died to save to the majority, whatever. No, it's not like that. Everybody benefits. You benefit. This is for everyone's highest good, collectively, individually and collectively. And the choice has been made because of our asking for the highest will to be done, that this karma comes to balance. And that's it. But it's just, that's it. There's nothing more to be said. It's time to learn this lesson. The lesson is stop fighting against yourself. You are the universe. When you stop fighting the universe, you let everything work for you. When you're fighting against the universe, you are fighting against yourself. When you're resisting the flow, you're resisting the flow of life, which you are. You're resisting the natural course, the natural progression of your evolution, of your expansion, your being, your joy. When you stop resisting that, all of this flows naturally, flows easily. You stop fighting the universe, you stop fighting yourself, and you free up the whole of yourself to assist you in every way possible, to bring you all that is to your highest good. It's always doing that in some form or fashion, but the main thing it's trying to teach you is stop fighting it. I'm helping you. When you stop fighting me, which is you, we work together. We flow seamlessly together. Then we've truly tapped into and unleashed the power that creates worlds. And we're doing it on purpose, deliberately, as a unified whole self, the total self. Self-help from the total self. I think that was an Abraham Hicks book. Anyway, that is the main lesson the universe is trying to teach. Tell me about this final outcome. The world, as I was shuffling, a card flew out. I haven't looked at it yet, but the environmental energy is, yeah, it's coming to balance. Yeah, it's taken a long time. Yeah, it's chugging along, but it gets there. It's slow, but it does get there. Because it can't not. Because it's just decided. It is so. because we chose it. What's underneath that? Eight of Cups. We're moving away from one cycle, a cycle of pain, a cycle of suffering, moving on to something else. What's on top? The Fool, which comes after the World, which just reinforces that read entirely. The cycle is complete. You only get to the Fool after passing the World. This is an ascended Fool. We're not getting kicked back here. We are moving on, especially red with the Three of Wands, with death. We're moving on. It doesn't matter. The deck just wanted to split itself on justice again. Just reinforcing this. What is right is what is just. What is just is. Let it be. Why is the Fool here? The Hanged Man. I want to pull one more on this. There are some people still fighting this. That's okay. They're gonna come in from the cold. This new perspective is gonna be revealed. It is revealed one way or another. Yeah, one way or another. There's no fighting this. Just to reinforce, this is all major arcana. Give me just a little bit more. I just saw the World again. It was right underneath that Eight of Cups. Yeah, this is changing. There's no stopping it. There is absolutely no stopping it. There's a Tower. Reinforcing all of this, but I just want to pull on the Star and the Hanged Man here. Is there anything else you want to tell me about this? Because this has been stuff that's been stuck for a long time, because it's been on the outskirts waiting for this karma to balance. This energy had to resolve for the rest to continue. Just tell me about this Hanged Man and this Star, if you can. Generally, what is this? It's new beginning, absolutely. It's stuff coming in. It's taking us to brand new horizons, new, smoother waters. It's a whole bunch of endings, so a whole bunch of new beginning can happen. Tell me about this. Yeah, okay. Six of Cups, something that's been in the queue for a long time, for lifetimes. Something that's been trying to pop for lifetimes. Something about, yeah, it's emotionally founded. It is love related, not necessarily romantic love. That's included. I am pulling on the soulmate cycle. But a lot of it has to do, yeah, and there's that Tower, with this just erupting forth. Letting go of the past, letting things change, Wheel of Fortune. Brand new stuff just bursting in out of nowhere. Out of absolutely nowhere. Just ripping in. Ace of Swords. Getting justice energy off of that too. It's final. It's reckoning. It's resolving. It's resolution. Something comes to light that sets us on this new course. Yeah, the course correction happens. It's time to get away from the anxiety. There's the Emperor again. It's time to let go of the past. The past is let go of. It happens. One way or another. Yeah, blockages removed. And anyone continuing to fight this will just keep getting spanked until they let go. I don't know why I feel frustration There's a frustration energy here. I'm going to put a couple of these cards back. This is not something I normally do, but there's confusion here. And it may be that, yeah, this change of energy is confusing to the ego. It doesn't understand it. It keeps trying to fight it. But it doesn't have to make sense. It just is. What's the frustration I'm feeling? Okay, thank you. They don't like having to walk away from this. It takes a lot of courage, but there's a building passion. Some of the confusion is how much we actually do want to walk away. There's a confusion over having been comfortable in this for so long, and all of this emotion used to make sense to repress. Now it's changing. Now it's making more sense. It's feeling that the pull is getting stronger to walk away. And that is confusing. Why am I suddenly feeling like I don't want this? Why am I suddenly unable to sit in the 8 broken cups and the deck just split in a couple places? Because we're understanding what real happiness is. And we're understanding that this is not it. We used to be able to sit in this because we didn't know what happiness was. Joy, true joy, I mean, not ego attachment happiness. That's what we thought happiness was. We thought the penultimate happiness was this, which was sometimes happy and sometimes terrible. We thought, well, that's just how it works. That's happiness, I guess. Happiness always has this other thing attached. It always has anger, pain, sadness living within it, because it's a form. It's ego-based attachment. It's based on a polarity. It's based on a form which is unstable, which is constantly fluctuating. But real happiness, understanding what real happiness is, that which is at the soul level, which knows no opposite, that which is driven by our own internal guidance, by following our own compass, following our own feelings, flowing with them, expressing them, flowing with the energy. That's where true satisfaction comes from. Satisfaction that has no opposite. Peace that has no opposite. Joy that has no opposite. Joy that is unconditional. Now that we're seeing that, we don't have any desire to stick with this other version anymore. This ego-based, fear-based, constantly flip-flopping version. This happiness, which is not true happiness. We've tasted true joy. Now that we've tasted it, we want it. We want the real deal. We want the lasting peace. We want the lasting pleasure, the kind that is unconditional. And we are being driven towards it, quite certainly, quite steadfastly. That checks out. All right. Anything else here? Anything else you want to say? That kind of felt like the final, honestly. But I'm going to pull 3 more cards just to see. 3 more cards and a crossing card. What else do you want to say, universe? Ego is starting to see, the mind is starting to see that its efforts are futile. Not just its resistance, but its attachment, its pursuit of happiness is endless. It's a bottomless pit. It's realizing it's never truly satisfied. It is never truly happy, because the happiness is not out there. The happiness is not in form. Genuine article love, peace, satisfaction, happiness comes from in here, comes from within. It comes from the now. It comes from flowing with the energy, letting all be as it is. It comes from surrender. When you are in a state of conscious, deliberate surrender to what is, which is present moment acceptance, That balances energy, and that feels good. And that is the good that when you feel it, you know has no opposite. And it is wholly within your control. There is nothing stopping it at any given moment. In fact, every given moment, the existence of the moment is the passageway for you to know that joy, to know that peace. By your acceptance of the condition, you realize it doesn't matter what condition is. It just matters that it is. It matters that you accept it. By your acceptance of it, your surrender, you're open to the flow, you let the energy balance, you feel good. That's all it takes. You become unconditional. Six of Cups comes out. Something very old coming to a resolve quite suddenly. Quite suddenly. Why? Because we're tired of looking at this. Because we're ready to move on. Because the 2 cups are still standing. It's time to shift focus. Let's ride with the 6 of Cups. There's no way out of this. It's driving us crazy. We gotta just make a move. Don't be concerned about the nostalgia energy. That is very high right now. Steve's Love Tarot has mentioned it. I certainly am feeling it. There is a lot of this general nostalgia past type of feeling that's moving around. It's okay. Don't be too taken in by it. Let it flow through, let it pass through you. Use this as an opportunity to witness what is, to let it come and let it pass. Not to resist it, not to attach to it. Understand, whatever is of value is carried forward. Nothing is truly lost. But the past doesn't exist. There's nothing there. It's the past because it has passed away. Let it pass. Let it be moved on from. Let it be removed. Just let go. Yeah. The balance is found in the flow, always. Just flow with what's happening. Everything is changing. You don't have to do anything. Just let it change. Just be open and receptive to it. You don't have to actively drop something. You just stop holding on to it. And it falls away. And you stop holding on to things by putting your direct focus on them, by bringing your present moment attention and including in that awareness the present moment, including the awareness that this is now, this is here, and just focusing on that while allowing everything else to be. Just expand, diffuse, spread. All is well. Let everything be as it is, and you're golden. That's all I got. This is the message for today. It resonates powerfully with me. I do intend that it resonates with you, my beautiful viewer, and I would love to know, if so, how. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you feel so inclined, but don't worry about any of that. Don't worry about anything. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to care about. There's nothing to stress, nothing to sweat, nothing serious going on here. Breathe. Be empty. When you are empty of self, the perception of self, you free the world to rush in and fill you with the truth of your being. All is as all should be. That is the message. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening, my lovely collective. And know that always, in every vector of time and space, I absolutely adore you. Take it easy.